The truth about I and R, Allison Lanier's out, is revealed. What happens to Summer Newman? The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that a special romantic episode will air May 21, so 3 couples will take center stage according to Swoon. Let's discuss the duos that'll be featured and what'll be happening for them in this upcoming show. Of course, no romantic episode would be complete without Victor Newman and Nikki Newman. Although they've had their ups and downs over the years, there's no denying the staying power of Nikki and Victor's relationship. Nikki understands that her husband can be stubborn and vindictive sometimes, but she also knows Victor adores her and would do just about anything to protect his family. The problem is that Victor's idea of protection is sometimes very different from Nikki's. Nevertheless, Victor and Nikki will come together in Y and R's May 21 episode to help ramp up the romance. As Nikki and Victor take a moment to savor how far they've come in their own love story, they'll express their desire to see love and happiness for the rest of the Newman clan too. Victor often thinks he knows best when it comes to his family members' romantic lives, just like in the current storyline where he's sabotaging Claire Newman's relationship with Kyle Abbott. Even so, Victor may give all his scheming a rest for a bit and mostly dote on Nikki in this special show. Next, let's talk about Michael Baldwin and Lauren Fenmore Baldwin, since they'll be featured in this romantic episode as well. It turns out Michael will make a bold move to show Lauren that their relationship is what matters most to him. Does that mean Michael is finally going to quit his job like Lauren wants? Michael has been facing Lauren's pressure to walk away from Victor before he gets tangled up in a mess that's catastrophic. Lauren doesn't want Michael stuck in this Newman-Abbott feud any longer, so we'll see if Michael's ultimately willing to grant her wish and bow out. Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott will be the 3rd couple featured, so let's go over their part in this fantastic episode as well. Despite Billy Abbott's troubling reaction to the Abbott Mansion refresh, Jack will assure Diane that she did a wonderful job. In fact, Jack will have a gift for Diane, one that'll show her just how much he appreciates her renovation efforts. Could Jack have a new portrait commissioned of Diane, or perhaps one of them as a couple? That might become the finishing touch on the living room and help Diane truly make her mark on the place like she wanted. The Young and the Restless spoilers say the May 21 episode will bring a look at the past along with some romantic predictions of what's to come. So stay tuned for updates on all the exciting news ahead. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless recap for Monday, April 5, reveals that Kyle Abbott will make an Adam Newman ally pitch to Claire Newman. Phyllis Summers' threat will also rattle Sally Spectra, so let's talk about what's ahead in Genoa City. Once Nate Hastings returns from Boston with Damian Kane, he'll find Audra Charles at Society and offer updates on Amy Lewis' treatment going well. Audra will gush over all her ideas for Vibrant, but Nate will grow concerned when he learns Victor Newman's holding back on the funding. However, Audra will want to change the subject and avoid arguing now that Nate's finally home. Nate will open up about bonding with Damian a bit on his trip, so he'll be hopeful about Damian's walls coming down. At Crimson Lights, Damian will give Lily Winters positive news about Amy as well and acknowledge that he had some good conversations with Nate while they were away. Damian will apologize to Lily for being so defensive when he first came to town and will wonder what it's going to take for her to trust him. Lily will remind Damian that she still wants to know Aristotle Dumas' agenda and will suggest that maybe he could set up an in-person meeting for her. Damian will have his doubts about getting Aristotle to agree, but he'll be willing to try and arrange something. After Damian asks for a favor in return, he'll want to visit the jazz lounge dedicated to Neil Winters and see it through Lily's eyes this time. Damian will ask Lily to have a drink with him there, so they'll end up bonding at the bar over losing their dads too soon. At the GCAC, Phyllis will find Sally and Billy Abbott drinking champagne together, so she'll assume they're celebrating her ousting from Abbott Communications. Sally and Billy will deny that, but Phyllis will remain agitated and make it clear that this is just a temporary sabbatical. Although Phyllis will make predictions about rejoining the company along with Daniel Romalotti Jr., Billy will warn that it's not happening. After Phyllis learns Sally is her replacement, she'll point out that Billy has a habit of hiring his girlfriends and then kicking them to the curb. Phyllis will think she's going to get the last laugh when Sally gets the rug pulled out from under her and ends up alone. Billy will push Phyllis to leave, but she'll have more to say and will ultimately warn that he's going to be sorry he did this to her. Once Phyllis saunters off, Billy will try to downplay what happened as one of her typical outbursts. Sally, on the other hand, will seem much more worried about the very real threat Phyllis delivered. Back at the coffee house, Phyllis will order a double-shot espresso before plopping in a booth. That's when Phyllis will declare this isn't over, not by a long shot. At the Abbott mansion, Kyle will tell Claire about Summer Newman's Milan trip and admit he informed his ex about their plan to move in together. Claire will find out Summer was pretty cool about it, all things considered. Next on Monday's I and R episode, Kyle will show Claire a pic of what could be their new home and will explain that it's Adam Newman's former place now that he's moved in the old ranch house. Kyle will admit he looked into the listing, so Claire will be a little miffed that he did that without talking to her first. However, Claire will soften when Kyle admits he just got overly excited. Kyle will also point out that maybe if they'd buy the place from Adam, they can get him on their side with Victor. Claire won't know if that'll help since Adam hasn't been her biggest fan, and will be surprised Kyle wants to try making Adam an ally. After Claire and Kyle make a pros and cons list, Claire will decide Adam's old place is a good option and will think they should go see it. Claire will vow to find a way to mention it to Adam and set something up, so Kyle will suggest they could be living together within the month. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that we have to ask, will Devin Winters cheat on Abby Winters with Amanda Sinclair? Will this ex's return put Devin's marriage at risk? Devin previously betrayed Amanda by getting passionate with Abby, but now it could be Abby's turn to get burned. Amanda's comeback is happening later this month, so let's talk about how that might affect Devin's storyline. Based on the latest spoilers, there are some warning signs when it comes to the familiar sparks that could fly between Devin and Amanda once more. Amanda and Devin will land back in each other's orbit, so there's certainly a chance they'll reconnect and face some temptation. Devin and Amanda will have to re-examine their feelings once they're interacting again, so it'll be interesting to see where things lead. Now that Melissa Ordway is no longer on contract, many fans have wondered if Y&R might eventually blow up Devin and Abby's marriage. It's possible Abby and Devin will keep living their happy life together that mostly happens off-screen, but it'd open Devin up for more storylines if their relationship fell apart. Amanda could be the wrecking ball that makes that happen if Devin cheats with her during her upcoming visit to Genoa City. Even a one-night stand could be enough to derail things with Abby and lead to a separation or possibly a divorce. Of course, it's also possible Devin will resist temptation and stay loyal despite any old feelings that bubble up. It all depends on whether Y&R wants to keep Devin and Abby's marriage intact. No matter how it all plays out, Devin and Amanda will apparently get thrown into a storyline together. That alone is enough to warrant some speculation about Amanda and Devin potentially sharing a kiss or landing back in bed. Will Abby get her heart broken by the end of all this? Will Amanda's comeback take a toll on Abby and Devin's marriage? Devin and Abby made plenty of positive predictions at their wedding, but relationships always come with highs and lows, especially on soaps. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, May 6, reveal that Diane Jenkins Abbott's news will enrage Jack Abbott, while Victoria Newman spills to Nick Newman. Tessa Porter will also see some warning signs, so here's what Y and R fans can expect. For starters, Jack will sense that Diane is down in the dumps, so he'll wonder what's bothering her. Diane will offer updates on Billy Abbott's recent visit to the Abbott mansion and the harsh criticism he delivered regarding the renovations. Since everyone else has been gushing like crazy and praising Diane for a job well done, it was a tough blow for Billy to disapprove. Diane may start second-guessing her whole plan and wonder if she should have just left the Abbott house alone. Of course, Jack will remind Diane that he absolutely loves what she did with the place. There's a good chance Jack will think Billy is just being ornery and pushing Diane's buttons on purpose. Regardless, Jack will fume over the way Billy handled the situation, so it won't be long until he tracks his brother down to demand an apology for Diane. In the meantime, Victoria will open up to Nick about some things that are troubling her. That could involve some concerns about Claire Newman moving in with Kyle Abbott too soon, especially since Victor Newman isn't going to react well. However, the more pressing issue on Victoria's mind will presumably be Cole Howard's medical crisis. As Victoria awaits Cole's test results, she may admit to Nick that she's worried something is terribly wrong. Will Cole's doctor ultimately offer a terrible diagnosis and some unsettling predictions about the road ahead? Next, Tessa will have some worries of her own thanks to Maria Copeland's increasingly weird behavior. Maria is feeling guilty over what she did on her business trip, so she'll raise red flags and make Tessa wonder what's really up with her. Did Maria drunkenly cheat on Tessa, or could there be another explanation? Maria has been vague about what happened so far, but it's clear that she fears it could blow up her marriage. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, May 2 reveal that Allison Lanier's last scenes as Summer Newman will air while Adam Newman faces some sinister temptation. For starters, Summer will head to the Abbott mansion, where she'll gush over the renovations and have a chat with Kyle Abbott. This could lead to Kyle breaking the news to Summer that he'll be moving to a new place with Claire Newman soon. Summer will likely have some concerns about the effect that could have on Harrison Abbott, but Kyle may make a prediction about the transition being a smooth one. Harrison will also spend some time with Summer, Kyle, and Diane Jenkins Abbott on Friday's I and R show, which will be Allison Lanier's final episode. Lanier recently made a social media announcement about her exit as Summer Newman, so be sure to tune in for her last scenes on May 2. Next, let's talk about Victor Newman, since he'll push Adam to embrace his worst impulses. Adam will face Victor's pressure to play dirty, so this may involve a daring move against Billy Abbott. Speaking of daring moves, Chelsea Lawson is about to make one of her own. It sounds like Chelsea will make a firm decision about accepting Adam's offer to officially join him at Newman Media. As for Phyllis Summers, she'll continue to struggle in the aftermath of her firing from Abbott Communications. Phyllis will be feeling rather directionless, but she'll mostly still be concerned about Daniel Romolotti Jr. and making sure he finds a positive path forward. Since Daniel has latched onto Tessa Porter as a lifeline lately, Phyllis will hold out hope that their growing bond can help. Although Phyllis might scoff over learning the guitar being a real way for Daniel to cope with what he's been through, she may try to keep an open mind in the end. Maybe Phyllis could eventually get some inspiration from Daniel and find some surprising sense of purpose in her own life. Allison Lanier is known to audiences for taking over the role of Summer Newman on The Young and the Restless. However, the actress recently shared an update about her future with the soap. Fans have also been sharing their reaction to the news. Allison Lanier joined The Young and the Restless back in 2022. Lanier made her acting debut in the indie comedy film It Happened in LA. She then went on to have a recurring role as Annabelle on Red Oaks. In 2022, Lanier became known to soap fans for her role as Summer Newman on The Young and the Restless. The character had been portrayed by a number of actors beforehand, including Lindsay Bushman and Hunter King. Allison Lanier. Instagram Allison Lanier of The Young and the Restless. Instagram, however, Lanier's days in Genoa City may soon come to an end. The actress herself confirmed the news in a recent post on X as Lanier shared, "Hey guys, this Friday, May 2nd, will be my last episode on Y and R. I've loved the journey and learned so much, but it's time to grow in a different direction. Very grateful for all of the Y and R fans who have supported me." According to Soap Opera Digest, The Young and the Restless usually doesn't comment on the status of its actors. However, sources close to the publication have claimed that there are no immediate plans to recast Summer. Back in 2022, when first joining The Young and the Restless, Lanier shared, "I was living in New York when my manager told me about the opportunity. Just like any other acting job, I did a self-tape and sent it along. Then they called me out to test. It was so exciting. So I flew to LA and I tested out here." The actress also talked about working with Joshua Morrow and Michael Mueller. She shared, "First I read with Joshua and he couldn't have been nicer. He's a super relaxed guy and really funny. So he broke the ice right away and made me feel comfortable. He was great to work off of. He felt like my dad. And I also auditioned with Michael, and he was so sweet and giving. He helped make the scene we were doing together much easier for me." Fans have also been sharing their reactions to Lanier's news. Lanier claimed that hiring her for the part didn't take much time. She noted, "They called just a few hours later. I've never gotten word back that fast. I was up against other women, and when I left, I thought, that was fun, so I put it out of my mind. When they called, I was just flabbergasted, to be honest." With Lanier's recent post, many fans are sharing their reactions to the news. While wishing her the best, many shared they were sad to see her go. Some comments include, "All Allison #Team Summer is sad to see you go. Enjoyed what you brought to the role of Summer and what you gave to Skyle and Summons. We would have loved more time with you in role, but no, that did leave a mark. So sad to see you go, Skyle, forever. Damn, took a long time adjusting to your character. You are an amazing actress. Best wishes on all that you do. I absolutely adored Summer and Chance #Summons, and am very sad that this pairing wasn't given a fighting chance. I just hope this is your decision and not #yours." In a dramatic turn on The Young and the Restless, Cole Howard's fabricated illness sends shockwaves through Victoria Newman's life, culminating in a devastating breach of trust. For months, Cole appeared to be battling a mysterious, life-threatening condition, coughing, weakening, and garnering Victoria's unwavering care. However, the heartbreaking twist emerges when Victoria learns that Cole has been faking his illness, including simulating cancer symptoms, as part of a calculated manipulation to pressure her into marriage. Victoria's initial compassion turns to outrage as the full extent of Cole's deception becomes clear. He exploited her loyalty and emotional investment, using fabricated symptoms to engineer a proposal. The revelation leaves Victoria not only betrayed but humiliated by the emotional manipulation she endured. Cole's justifications fall flat, and his pleas for forgiveness are rendered meaningless by the irreversible damage done. The trust that once defined their bond is shattered. Amid the emotional fallout, Claire offers Victoria solace and perspective, noting that Cole's survival is a silver lining. Still, Victoria struggles to reconcile the man she loved with the one who orchestrated such a cruel scheme. Cole's actions mark a significant turning point, and the possibility of reconciliation appears slim. The ramifications extend beyond Victoria. Victor Newman, who had supported Cole, is consumed by self-reproach. Known for his control and strategic insight, Victor now faces the bitter realization that he misjudged Cole. His disappointment is directed inward as much as it is toward Cole, deepening the narrative's emotional complexity. As Victoria distances herself from Cole, a renewed connection emerges between her and Billy Abbott. In the midst of their individual turmoil, Victoria's betrayal and Billy's guilt over firing Phyllis, they find shared understanding. Their conversation reveals a rekindled emotional bond, rooted in mutual experiences of loss and deceit. Yet history warns that a smooth reconciliation is unlikely, as lingering resentment and unresolved personal dynamics threaten to complicate any renewed relationship. Meanwhile, Cole is forced to confront the wreckage he created. His realization of the emotional cost comes too late. Despite his remorse, Victoria's decision appears firm. She walks away, unwilling to excuse such a grave violation of trust. Cole is left grappling with the full weight of his deception, uncertain whether redemption is even possible. Parallel to this turmoil, Mariah Copeland and Tessa Porter face their own crisis. Tessa grows increasingly concerned about Mariah's erratic behavior and excessive drinking following a business trip. The emotional tension reaches a breaking point when a drunken Mariah admits to being unfaithful. Though her confession is hazy and driven by guilt, its impact on their marriage is profound. Tessa is left questioning whether their bond can withstand the breach of trust. Looking forward, the intertwined narratives suggest a season of emotional reckoning for Genoa City's key figures. As Victoria navigates the aftermath of Cole's betrayal, her future with Billy hangs in the balance. Meanwhile, Cole faces isolation and a long path toward potential redemption. Maria and Tessa's marriage teeters under the strain of infidelity and unresolved trauma. This unfolding drama underscores a recurring theme in The Young and the Restless. Trust, once broken, is not easily restored. The emotional aftermath of deceit will define the next chapter for these characters, shaping their relationships and futures in unpredictable ways. In The Young and the Restless, corporate upheaval and personal rivalries collide as Claire Newman emerges as a formidable leader at Chancellor Industries. Her rapid rise has not only upended internal power structures, but also intensified tensions within the Newman family, threatening to dismantle long-standing alliances. Once an assistant at Newman Media, Claire has strategically navigated her way to the CEO position at Chancellor. Her ambition, sharp instincts, and aggressive management style mark a stark departure from Nikki Newman's more traditional and emotionally driven leadership. While Nikki's tenure at Chancellor has always been tenuous, recent events highlight her diminishing influence. Critics point to her lack of business acumen and increasing reliance on subordinates as clear indicators that her grip on leadership is slipping. This leadership transition is more than a corporate reshuffle. It's a deeply personal conflict. Nikki's struggles are compounded by strained relationships with her children, an increasingly fragile marriage to Victor Newman, and now her granddaughter Claire's ascent. The friction between Claire and Nikki reflects a generational clash, where experience and legacy are being overshadowed by ambition and adaptability. Complicating matters further is Claire's relationship with Kyle Abbott. Her decision to move into the Abbott estate has triggered resistance from the Abbott family and raised questions about her true intentions. This controversial move has not only alienated powerful figures like Jack Abbott, but also placed Claire in direct opposition to Victor, who views her actions as a threat to the Newman legacy. Victor's disapproval has only added pressure on Nikki, who now finds herself caught between supporting Claire and maintaining loyalty to her husband. Her inability to assert herself independently from Victor's influence has led many to question whether she still holds meaningful authority within the Newman hierarchy. Meanwhile, Claire's assertiveness in the boardroom and personal life demonstrates a clear intent to redefine the family's corporate legacy on her own terms. Her ambition to secure control of Chancellor Industries is evident, even if it means confronting both Nikki and Victor head-on. As she pushes forward, the stakes grow higher, not just for the Newman family, but for the future of Chancellor itself. What lies ahead is a high-stakes battle for dominance, with Claire poised to challenge the very foundations of the Newman empire. Whether her aggressive strategies will lead to long-term success or alienate her from both families remains uncertain. However, one thing is clear. Claire's rise is reshaping Genoa City's power landscape, and the consequences of her ambition will reverberate throughout the Young and the Restless for months to come. In a pivotal development on The Young and the Restless, Billy Abbott's abrupt decision to fire Phyllis Summers has triggered a chain reaction that reverberates far beyond corporate restructuring. This controversial move not only severed a long-standing professional relationship, but also ignited personal tensions and rivalries that now threaten to destabilize Abbott Communications from within. Billy justified the termination by citing Phyllis's increasing distraction, particularly her focus on securing a role for her son, Daniel Romalotti Jr., as detrimental to the company's objectives. However, the optics of the firing, executed publicly and replaced immediately by Sally Spectra, suggests deeper motives. The swiftness with which Sally stepped into the role raises questions about whether the decision was truly strategic or emotionally driven. Given Billy's documented history of impulsive leadership, his rationale appears more like a veil for unresolved personal frustrations with Phyllis. Phyllis's dismissal was not a quiet HR maneuver. It was a public spectacle that left her professionally discredited and personally humiliated. The fallout has pushed Phyllis into a state of emotional vulnerability, intensifying her attachment to Daniel as she struggles to retain a sense of purpose. Her inability to respect Daniel's boundaries signals a descent into obsession, indicating potential long-term personal instability. Sally's promotion has sparked speculation regarding her qualifications and motivations. Although she brings talent to the table, her lack of ties to the company and complicated past with Billy make her a contentious choice. Observers suggest her selection may be less about business acumen and more about pliability. Sally represents someone Billy can control, unlike the strong-willed Phyllis. Phyllis's unannounced return to Abbott Communications during a celebratory moment for Billy and Sally marked a strategic escalation. Confronting both, she exposed underlying truths about Billy's management style. His pattern of exploiting and discarding people once they no longer serve his purpose. Her scathing accusations hit a nerve, disrupting the fragile new alliance between Billy and Sally. Billy's defensive posture did little to diffuse the tension, and Sally found herself caught between the two, forced to question her own position and future within the company. Phyllis's accusations have not only destabilized interpersonal dynamics, but have also cast a shadow over Abbott Communications' leadership integrity. No longer the scorned executive, Phyllis emerges as a formidable adversary with insider knowledge of Abbott Communications' operations, vulnerabilities, and internal politics. Her years at the company have equipped her with the intelligence necessary to challenge Billy and Sally's authority from outside the organization. Her threats are not hollow. They are calculated declarations of a tactical campaign designed to exact retribution. This power struggle is far from over. With Phyllis on a path of strategic retaliation, Sally's position increasingly precarious, and Billy grappling with the fallout of his decision, Abbott Communications faces an impending leadership crisis. The dynamics between these characters have shifted into a volatile phase where personal vendettas, emotional trauma, and professional agendas collide. As the dust begins to settle, the company must brace for further disruption. Phyllis, now fueled by betrayal and empowered by knowledge, represents an existential threat to the current power structure. Her actions in the coming episodes are poised to reshape the future of Abbott Communications, and possibly the entire landscape of Genoa City. In the latest episode of The Young and the Restless, Chelsea Lawson faces a pivotal moment as she grapples with revealing a long-held secret to Adam Newman. For months, Chelsea had been holding onto a fragile semblance of normalcy, but the constant tension with Adam had taken its toll. As Adam's suspicions grew, it became increasingly difficult for Chelsea to maintain the facade, especially regarding the truth about their son Connor. Adam had believed Connor was his son for years, having formed a deep emotional connection with him. However, Chelsea finally admitted the painful truth. Billy Abbott, not Adam, was Connor's biological father. This revelation hit Adam hard, as it shattered the foundation of his fatherhood and sent him into an emotional spiral. Despite the shock, Adam's pride and love for Connor kept him from accepting the truth. He struggled with the idea of letting Billy take a place in Connor's life, even though he had raised the boy as his own. Chelsea, though conflicted, felt it was time to face the truth. She had spent years protecting Connor from the complexities of his parentage, but she could no longer deny him the opportunity to know his biological father. The revelation left Billy stunned, but it also provided him with a sense of relief and joy. After years of questioning his connection to Connor, he finally understood the bond they shared. However, the truth had far-reaching consequences. Adam, filled with bitterness and resentment, refused to let go of his role as Connor's father. His obsession with keeping Connor in his life, despite knowing the truth, created a rift with both Chelsea and Billy. As Adam's anger grew, Chelsea feared for the stability of their family. The emotional fallout from this revelation left Chelsea torn between the two men in her life, knowing that both would fight to maintain their connection with Connor. Amidst the turmoil, Chelsea also faced a professional crossroads. She received an unexpected offer to leave her position at Marchetti, a decision that was influenced by her complicated past with Adam. Though Chelsea tried to distance herself from him, his influence in her life remained undeniable. As she contemplated her future, Chelsea faced the challenge of carving out a new path, both personally and professionally, while navigating the complex dynamics of her relationships with Adam, Billy, and Connor. The episode leaves viewers wondering if Adam will ever come to terms with the truth, or if his pride and jealousy will prevent him from forming a healthy relationship with Connor. Chelsea's journey towards self-discovery is just beginning, and the emotional battles she faces will test her resolve in ways she never expected. The future of her family and career remains uncertain, with the weight of past secrets threatening to unravel everything. In the latest developments from The Young and the Restless, Victoria Newman finds herself at an emotional and existential crossroads. Once known for her calculated demeanor and composed business persona, Victoria is now unraveling under the weight of personal tragedy. The return of Cole Howard, one of her long-lost loves, is marred by a grave illness that leaves his future, and hers, uncertain. Cole's sudden deterioration upon returning from Europe triggers a profound shift in Victoria. Initially dismissing his symptoms as minor, Cole's health quickly worsens, and Victoria becomes the driving force urging him to seek medical attention. Her concern transcends routine worry. It is a reflection of deep, unresolved affection. As Cole grows weaker, the emotional stakes heighten, forcing Victoria to face the grim possibility of losing someone who helped her rediscover emotional intimacy. Cole's potential death raises critical questions about Victoria's future, including the possibility of rekindling her relationship with ex-husband Billy Abbott. Their shared history of affection and pain creates a complex foundation for a potential reunion. While Victoria has historically avoided vulnerability, grief could push her back toward Billy, who has remained a stabilizing figure in her life despite their turbulent past. However, this scenario brings conflict. Sally Spectra, who has recently begun a relationship with Billy, could become collateral damage in a rekindled romance between Billy and Victoria. Likewise, Victor Newman, Victoria's powerful and often controlling father, remains skeptical of Billy's influence. His potential interference may intensify familial tensions and further complicate Victoria's emotional recovery. Victoria is not the only Newman grappling with chaos. Her mother, Nikki Newman, struggles to maintain composure amid recent events, including an arson attack and Jordan's disruptive actions. The instability threatens the family's unity and compounds Victoria's stress, highlighting the fragile balance between personal grief and family loyalty. Despite this, Victoria has found brief solace in her mended relationship with Claire and her emotional reconnection with Cole. These rare moments of happiness offer fleeting glimpses of peace, though they are quickly overshadowed by the looming tragedy. The emotional evolution of Victoria, from the icy businesswoman to a woman embracing vulnerability, has become a focal point for the show's narrative. This transformation, accelerated by Cole's illness, reveals a side of her character rarely explored. As fans witness her emotional awakening, they are also reminded that the path forward may demand resilience she has yet to summon. Should Cole pass away, Victoria will be forced to navigate a future devoid of the man who reignited her capacity for love. This loss could either shatter her or serve as a turning point in her ongoing journey of self-discovery. Additionally, her daughter Claire's response to losing her father will serve as a parallel emotional storyline, further deepening the impact of Cole's potential departure. As the narrative unfolds, Victoria's decisions in the aftermath of Cole's health crisis will determine not only the course of her personal life, but also the future of her relationships with Billy, Sally, and Victor. Whether she finds healing in new beginnings or becomes mired in grief remains to be seen. What is certain, however, is that Victoria's storyline continues to deliver compelling emotional depth. Her journey through love, loss, and the complex intersections of loyalty and identity remains one of the most dynamic arcs in The Young and the Restless. In the latest developments on The Young and the Restless, emotional tensions are escalating as Sharon Newman and her daughter, Mariah Copeland, face an impending psychological and emotional crisis. Long portrayed as a resilient figure in Genoa City, Sharon's past traumas and unresolved grief are resurfacing, this time with potentially devastating consequences. Sharon has weathered countless personal hardships, from manipulations and wrongful accusations to severe trauma at the hands of individuals like Cameron Kirsten and Ian Ward. After a brief period of peace with Nick Newman and daughter Faith in London, her stability is once again threatened by a looming revelation back home, one that could unearth buried secrets and emotional wounds. As this hidden truth begins to unfold, it appears Mariah, Sharon's daughter and Cassie Newman's twin, is at the center of the emerging crisis. Maria's emotional strength has been tested through complex relationships and the lingering shadow of her sister's death. Now, she appears to be concealing a serious illness, possibly a life-threatening one, putting additional strain on her bond with Sharon. Maria's return from a business trip is marked by emotional distance and physical fatigue, which her wife, Tessa Porter, immediately picks up on. Despite Maria's claims of being fine, the visible toll suggests otherwise. Rumors around Genoa City hint at a grave health condition, something Maria seems determined to hide to protect her loved ones. This secrecy, however, carries significant emotional consequences. For Sharon, the potential of losing another daughter after the tragic death of Cassie represents an emotional threat of the highest order. If Maria's illness proves fatal, Sharon may spiral into a mental and emotional collapse from which recovery could be impossible. Her psychological resilience, already strained by decades of trauma, may finally break. Tessa, meanwhile, finds herself trapped in helplessness. Desperate to support her wife yet shut out from the truth, she must find a way to break through Mariah's silence before it's too late. Their relationship, once defined by unwavering loyalty, is now under intense pressure as Tessa grapples with the possibility of loss and betrayal. Beyond Sharon and Tessa, Maria's crisis sends shockwaves through the entire Newman family. Faith, her half-sister, will likely be devastated by the unfolding events. Nick, too, must confront emotional turmoil as he supports Sharon through yet another personal catastrophe. The family, already deeply scared by past tragedies, may find itself on the verge of collapse once again. As the storyline advances, the emotional landscape of The Young and the Restless is set to intensify. The question of whether Sharon and Mariah can survive this trial, either physically, emotionally, or as a family unit, remains unanswered. What is certain, however, is that their bond will be tested in unprecedented ways. Viewers can expect a gripping narrative arc centered on love, loss, hidden truths, and the enduring struggle for emotional survival. The Young and the Restless knows how to bring the No, of course not. But maybe Michael should think of taking a step back from the Newman drama. Cole had us on edge on Wednesday. He's back in Genoa City, but it's clear not all is well. In fact, things are looking pretty bleak. He rolled into the tack house, and it wasn't long before he was laying on the couch too poorly to get up. Oh sure, he put on a brave face, but it became increasingly clear he's not okay. This is no simply cold. Cole is unwell, and we fear he and Victoria's reunion might be cut far too short if this sickness goes sideways. Friday had our jaws on the floor when Maria tearfully opened up to her mother. Hearing about her trip, her drinking, and we have to wonder if there's more to this story than she's letting on.